Hello, my name's Chris Love. I'm an Alteryx consultant with the Information Lab, and today I wanted to talk you through three tools in Alteryx: the Unique tool, the Fuzzy Match tool, and the Make Group tool. The data we're going to work with today is some National Student Survey data, which has got an institution name, and this was a problem we had recently, just cleaning this up and getting a distinct list of university names, because often the university names are slightly different year to year in the survey. They've got slightly different names, so we want to try and cut this down and work with a unique name list. So the first thing I'm going to do is use a filter tool and just uppercase the data. So I'm going to take the institution name, replace that, and use the uppercase function just to uppercase that institution name. Then I'm going to use the unique tool and run that through, taking the unique institution names through. What this tool does is take the first distinct institution name through the use stream, and any duplicates are passed through the duplicate stream. So that's going to make sure I've got a unique list of names. Often when using the unique tool, I'm going to want to make sure that the data is sorted before I put it through, because this is the first record that it comes through. So you want to make sure that first record is actually the record you want to pull through, because it's going to pull through the other data as well in that row. In this case, I'm not too bothered about the sort order. I just want a unique list, so that's fine. The next step is to create a unique record ID. So I'm going to use the record ID tool, which is a very quick way of doing that. That's just going to add a unique record to that data, as you can see just here. And just a little trick that I've picked up for using the Fuzzy Match tool, just to save a little bit of time. I'm going to create an ID field, and I'm going to concatenate a string version of that record ID, and I'm going to add on the institution name to that, maybe just separating it out with a colon or something like that to separate those out. And that's going to be useful later. It'll save an extra step in the fuzzy matching. Okay, we just had a warning there, which was about about the field being truncated. So I'm just going to increase the size of my field there to make sure that will fit in. So now that error has gone. The next step is to drag on the fuzzy matching tool. So you'll find the fuzzy matching tool in the join area. It's only got one stream. We're working in purge mode today. If we had different sources that we'd put into this stream with the source flag, then we could work with it in merge mode. In this case, purging is fine, and I'm going to pass in the ID field for my record ID field. So this is the field that we're going to get back after, that shows which matches we've got. Within the field, I'm going to match on the institution name, and I can then click on the match style. So in this case, we've got a few match styles that I can work with. So if I'm working with names or addresses, these are pre-built styles that I can use for matching. I typically work with a custom match style because I want to output and have control over that output. So once I'm working with this style, I'm going to strip the punctuation and the ands and ofs and thus from my data. So the University of Birmingham is going to be the same as the University of Birmingham, so that's fine. I then want to generate keys. Now we've got lots of different options here. Metaphone and SoundX are things that we'll want to work with names. Digits only is things like phone numbers, particularly if we want to reverse them to make sure we match, not including the international code, things like that. In this case, I'm just going to work with the alphanumeric fields option. So just take those alphanumerics, and I want to generate a key for each word. Okay. I'm going to leave this option blank and come back to it. And I'm going to ignore the match function for now. And I'm going to output the options down here, output match score and output generator keys just at the bottom of this properties window. I'm just going to output those so I can see what the tool's doing. And let's run that and see what results we get. Okay, so we started with 434 records that we're matching. We've actually created, I don't know whether you saw that, let me just bring up those connection properties. So we've actually got 45,000 records coming through. So these are our matches, which seems a lot. So we're going to want to cut that down, and we actually got a warning just there about the key generation might not be selective enough. So Alteryx is telling us that our key generation might not be sufficiently good enough. So why is that? Well, let's look at the matches we've got. The match key we're generating is we get a match key for each word. So in this case, Aberystwyth's come through. Further down there'll be a university key as well. And these are the matches. Now you can see why it's important that in this case, because we've only got one match field, that within the previous field I concatenated that university name on, because it saves doing any extra matching to match these IDs back to our source data and find where the matches are. It actually gives us a really quick way of seeing how the matches are working. So these matches are working on purely on this match key at the moment. So it's generated a match key, looked across the data and tried to find the commonalities between it, and it's given us those matches. So you can see Glasgow School of Art has matched to Leeds College of Art, and that's because of the art keyword. So we're going to want to take some of these keywords out. There's lots of colleges, lots of universities that are really kind of, we don't want every college to match to every college. Now, we can fine tune this, sure, we can add a post matching process, but I'm going to want to get rid of the bulk of these before I do that work. So let's dive back into our match fields and just add the words university, college, design, art, technology, words that we perhaps don't want to be the matching part of our key. We want to ignore those when we're generating the keys. And let's see what impact that has. You can see it's dramatically reduced the number of matches we've got. We've still got a lot of arts matches. So Somerset College of Arts matching to the University of Arts. So let's just dive in there and add the word arts as well. Okay, so we're starting to pick up some useful matches. So this one's matched on Anglia. We've got the word at, which I'm not too keen on. These are matching on Birmingham. These are matching on Bournemouth, etc. So let's just see what see what further matching we can do to reduce these potential number of matches. The first thing that the fuzzy match tool offers is the match function. So this key generation is the brute force method that we're going to then refine using our match function as a separate follow-up. And we've got several options here as well, so we can do different kinds of matches. So Levenstein, Jarrow distance are different distance measures to find the distances between strings. Let's just use the Levenstein distance to start with and see what impact that has. As you can see, if we just dive back in there, we've got a match threshold here, and this is going to, when we compare the distances between those words, this is going to define a threshold for the kind of score that that is allowed through there. So I'm just going to reduce that to about 50 to start with, so we can see what level of matches, and I'm going to do the same with the overall match threshold. Very quickly you can see this has reduced right down to 459 matches. So a lot of the matches we were getting before have now been removed because we've added this matching process, and what it's doing is comparing the number of character changes that it needs to do to move between a word like a sentence like St Mary's University College and this one. So University College Birmingham, University of Birmingham. Let's just see what score that's got. Well, it's got a match of 68 because the word college took a fair proportion of changes to this string to get back to this string. So adding the word C in, adding the letter C, adding the letter O, adding the letter L, etc. So this is a kind of a percentage of the overall length of the string with regards to the number of changes. So I'm not sure whether University of Birmingham is the same as University College Birmingham. It's probably not. So, this match score of 68 is probably one we'd want to filter out. To make that easier, I'm just going to drag a sort tool on and sort by that match score. So we'll get our most confident matches at the top, and we'll get our weakest matches at the bottom. So these are our confident matches, so 100%. You can see that the reason that's 100% is because there's no character changes needed. The pre-processing has stripped off the punctuation, so that's an exact match. Same with Goldsmiths College. If we go down further into the 90s, you can see the South Downs College, South Downs College. That was a very close match. Ditto with University of Manchester. Further down, North Devon College and South Devon College have actually matched because we've got the NOR to SOU is a relatively small proportion of the overall percentage of the string. So these are things you need to be aware of when you're looking at these matches. Further down, you can see we're starting to get, some fairly rough matches. So, Norwich City College of Further and Higher Education matches to Stockport College of Further and Higher Education. That's because overall, this has got a score of 77, because overall, the word Norwich and the word Stockport form a relatively small part of this key. It's actually matched on the key higher, so that we might want to go further and add kind of higher further into our fuzzy matching logic just to remove those as well. And this is the kind of thing that you'll find yourself doing when you're working with these with this fuzzy match tool. It's very much an iterative process, and because Alteryx is so quick at processing records, even with the tens of thousands of records here, this would be running through very quickly and enable us to keep iterating through this method to keep coming back and tweaking our matching algorithm. Once we've done that, we might spend a little bit more time tweaking our algorithm. We might want to allow, rather than a character-based match, do a word-based match. And in this case, I think that's going to be quite beneficial because word-based matches don't care about the order of the words. So if we had University of Birmingham and Birmingham University, those two would match. So that's going to be quite advantageous to our matching. So I'm going to start with the word-based distance, and then when using a word-based match, I'm just going to do a character-based match as well, just to further refine that. You can find more information on the help on some of these settings, but and if you want to kind of decrease the frequency, decrease the scores for certain words, then you can use a further kind of statistics table there, and you can add your own as detailed in the help. So once we've done that, we'll see probably an increased number of matches there. So we've gone from 400 to 870 purely by adding that word-based matching, and you can see we're still getting some the word city, some horrible matches. But let's take that city out, and then let's assume our work is done. I'm sure in reality we'd spend longer just tweaking those matches. and finding a reasonable cutoff. I think my cutoff, I'm going to add the score about 85 just to stop some of those rogue matches slipping through. What you might want to do is set a fairly low match threshold, maybe around the 70 mark, and then filter out some of the lower scores and output that to Excel for you to check through those mid-range scores using a filter tool before feeding them back in, and add a manual part to your process, and then accept some of the higher threshold 85 and above automatically and feed those through, and Alteryx provides the tools for you to do that. So once we've done that, the next stage of our matching process might be to then look at the groups that these records form. So we've got 125 matches there. We can see that the majority are matching. The Make Group tool is going to look at the patterns within that data, and where A matches to B and B matches to C, it will tell us that A matches to C as well. So just allow us to work through that. There's very little setting up here. The first key and the second key are the only groups only parameters we need to set. And as you can see, this then gives us a group, so that's going to be the first record in any data set. Consider this to be kind of a, this is group A, this is group B, this is group C. I pay very little attention to what it's called, this group. And then it's told us the records that are in this group. I think in this case we've mainly got groups of size 2, so there's very little movement between multiple matches in this data set, but that's fine. So in a more realistic data set, you might expect to see 3 or 4 different matches within here. But this gives us now something that we can start to use and match back to our original data. So the first step in that would be to rejoin back on the ID and match back onto that record ID using the join tool. So let's just merge that, match on the key, and I'm just going to match on my ID field and bring that through. Once I've done that, then I'm going to sort the data and just find the most recent record. So for each group, I'm going to then sort by the file name that came with the data. If you remember, there was this file name that told us the year that the name came from. I'm going to assume that the most recent years are the ones that have got the correct college name. So once I've done that, let me just bring this down here. Once I've done that within each group, then the data is going to be sorted by that name within each group. I'm going to get the top one, which is my correct one, and then feeding down for the kind of the matches that I've got. The next stage that I'm going to take just to is just replicate across each group, replicate this institution name down my record set, and I'm going to use the multi-row formula to do that. So what I want to do is for each key find the top of that group. So I'm going to call that the new name. I'm going to group by the group and make the values for rows that don't exist null. That's going to mean that if I can write an if statement that says if the new name doesn't exist, so if it's null, then I'm going to want to take the institution from my current row, else I'm going to want to go to the row before and take the new name. And this formula is going to work through and take the top row of each group and then push it down, working through for each group, pushing that name down each record. I've actually got an error there, so I've got a malformed if statement, so I just need to add the end if statement there, something I always forget from working with Tableau now. So once I've done that, if I run that through, let's look at the results. So this has pushed that most recent name, so the top one, and just pushed it down each of the records, and it's going to give me something to then join across back to my original data. So what I'm going to do is just use a find and replace tool. I'm going to find within the institutions my institution name, match onto the institution name from my data, and replace it with that most recent match, which is the new name field. And I just want to match the whole field there. So that will give me my original 642 records, replacing any instances from the data where it finds a match from my fuzzy matching process and feeding that through. So that's done exactly what we need. It's matched across there and brought through those fuzzy matching results. So using a relatively small amount of tools, so about 10 there, you can see that we can very quickly get from a set of duplicate data, create some matching, some fuzzy matching logic, very complicated logic there, but kind of encapsulated within a single tool, very powerful tool. Using the make group tool, we can then find the patterns within that data and then match that back onto our original data set and dedupe that data and come back with a clean data set. So those tools are all documented within the help. You can also find more samples within the sample data set. So if you go to the fuzzy matching merge, there's a very nice example of merging to a master file in a customer database, and to understand what's going on there, you can just expand this container, match that back up to the tools, and get a really nice explanation of how that matching process is working. So look at that. Look at the online training videos on demand on the Alteryx.com site, and also look at further blogs from the information lab too. That's it. I'm going to sign off this video now. Thanks for listening.